Hi everyone, welcome to my channel. I'm ACated and this is my build. So this video title should sound familiar to you if you've seen any of my other videos. This is basically a sequel to the aesthetic rooms that I made. I decided to make some more because The Sims just released a new update with the glass walls and I thought that would work perfectly with the room concept that I was kind of doing. I decided to do this as a speed build rather than the other way that I did it because I thought I'd just try it out since the last video was really long, so I wanted to see if it might be better to do a speed build version of it. Let me know in the comments if you like this version better or the last version better. Anyway, so this room here is an artist loft kind of aesthetic. And spoiler alert, it does use the artist loft kit, which you can probably see on screen. I wasn't entirely sure how to do this room since I kind of didn't really have a sort of vision in mind for what it was supposed to be. I just knew that I wanted to use the artist loft kit for it. I just recently got the artist loft kit, I guess just relatively recently because it's been a few weeks I guess, but I think it's really cool. I like all the artist kind of clutter and decorations and stuff, like all the tables and storage. I kind of want to make a paint store or something like an artist's craft store. Because I had an idea of doing like a series where I make builds for each of the skills in the game. I don't know if I'm going to do that though, because that sounds like a lot of work. There's a lot of skills in this game. If you do want to see something like that though, please be sure to comment down below and let me know. I really like all the clutter that comes from base game for artists, so like that big thing of canvases. I think it's like a rack of canvases, and then there's also the canvases that are against the wall. I think they're pretty cool, and I feel like I don't actually use them that often, even though I really like those items. That's why I want to do something like a paint store, like an artist thing, because I want to use those objects more. I quite like how the room turned out, although I think I probably could improve it if it was a little bit bigger and things weren't so close together. Moving on to the next room, this one is supposed to be sort of like an industrial aesthetic kind of room. I will say I do not have the industrial kit or whatever it's called, so I'm kind of just doing this with other objects. Hopefully it turns out well, I'm not really sure, but I think it looked good. I use these windows, I think they're from the Moschino pack, and then one of them is from base game. But I think they work well with the sort of industrial aesthetic that I'm going for this room. There's also these industrial furniture from the base game. I don't know how to describe them. I don't know what they're called, but they're kind of industrial looking. They look like they were kind of refurbished from like recycled wood or something. I'm imagining this room sort of being a living room in an apartment that used to be a factory or something. So everything would be like all refurbished and remodeled from the old factory. So there's still the old windows and the brick and stuff, but then there's also like the furniture and there's plants everywhere, and I think it looks cool. For a few of these rooms, I actually use the in-game style tool. Well, it's not a tool, but it's a style filter, and I used it to sort of filter out all the different aesthetics. So there is the industrial aesthetic, and then there's also boho eventually, and some other stuff too. I think it was useful, although sometimes it's not the most accurate, so I kind of just use it as a starting point and then go from there. Because there's lots of items that could be any sort of aesthetic, but they're not categorized in it for some reason, so I just kind of see what's there, and then if I want to use something else, then I just use it as inspiration, I guess. I also may have overdone it with all the damage decals that I put down in the industrial room, because I feel like it looks a bit too run down. But regardless, it's the way it is now. Anyway, so this is the next room, and it's supposed to be sort of like a plant room aesthetic. Also, I'm pretty sure I changed everything right after this, so all of the stuff you're seeing right here, I'm gonna change it all eventually. But anyways, with this room, I was sort of going for like a normal bedroom, but with a lot of plants. So sort of like when you think of aesthetic, just a generic kind of aesthetic. Not sure if that makes sense, but whenever I think of aesthetic, there's a specific aesthetic that comes to mind that just screams aesthetic, and that usually involves plants. It kind of reminds me of the pastel room I made, except just with a lot of plants and more green, and less pink and fluffy and whatever. So here I am with the new version of the room, so I completely redid the entire thing because I really couldn't decide what I wanted it to look like. I had trouble with this room, if you couldn't tell. I had to cut the recording so then it wouldn't be just a really long version of me just trying to figure out how to start the room. But I got there in the end, so it's fine. So yeah, I'm just sort of figuring out what I should put down here. There is a lot of trial and error because, like, if for some reason, even though it was so simple, just like plants and like aesthetic furniture, it was not working for some reason. It just kept looking weird. Maybe if I had a bigger space, but in this little confined little box, I feel like it's very limited, so I was kind of just going with what I could. Also, that flower display there, that's a debug object from Businesses and Hobbies, and I actually really liked it. I just saw it when I was searching around for stuff while I was making this room, and I thought it was cool and I wanted to use it in some way, but I don't know if I used it actually. Yeah, I don't know if I ended up using it or not, so I'll point that out if I see I deleted it or used it. But I really like that object. I have never seen it before, but I think it's really cool and I think I might want to use it to make a flower stand or something in the future. So yeah, let me know in the comments if you want to see that too. Anyway, so for the build, I think I used a lot of Blooming Rooms kit, of course, because there's lots of plants and stuff in there. I think it was kind of difficult to decorate the room just because there's only 2 walls, and I couldn't really place anything that obstructed the view. So if you want me to do an aesthetics room video, but have it so that I can decorate all the walls and that maybe you just don't see the little cutaway, you just go into the room, let me know that in the comments as well. And like I say in almost all my videos, just comment down below if you want to suggest anything or want to say anything about the video or my channel or whatever. Comments are greatly appreciated. And so subscribing and watching all my other videos if you haven't already. Anyways, so the little table there I have in the center, I think that was kind of my way of bringing more decorations into the room because I didn't know exactly how to do that without blocking the window, so I decided to just place something down in the middle of the room to place a bunch of plants on. I think I ended up going with that, and I think it looks good, but I'm not sure. Also, I just deleted the flower stand, so I think I didn't end up using it because it just wasn't working. I mean, that's okay, we don't have to use everything. I think I'm happy with how the build ended up, but then again, I'm not really sure. It might feel a little busy and cluttered, but I don't know. It is what it is. I felt like that with literally all my other rooms and also all the rooms on my last video, so maybe it's just a me thing. And then I added some string lights because why not? That's rather aesthetic, isn't it? Anyways, we should be moving on to the next room right about now. So the next room is supposed to be like a Mediterranean villa kind of room. I guess it's sort of like the Mediterranean villa that I made a few videos ago. At first I intended it to be a Mediterranean villa room, but I think it eventually ended up being more of like a Mexican or Latin American room. Like a room in a Mexican or Latin American villa or something. The only difference though I feel like that actually made it look like that was that I started placing cactuses around, which I don't know if that makes it look Mexican, but I don't know, I think it does because I don't think they have cacti in the Mediterranean. Also, I already made a Mediterranean villa recently and I didn't really want to copy that, so I was just trying to differentiate it somehow, and I think the cactuses were kind of my way of doing that. I'm kind of imagining this room being a sort of balcony or living room that overlooks like a body of water like the ocean or a river or a lake or something. I don't know, but I think it looks cool. So I'm sort of just going to be adding a bunch of decorations and stuff around to make it look a lot more lively and less just a bunch of chairs being placed down and then like the walls are painted. A lot of Sims building is just placing a bunch of decorations around to make a build look less like you just place a bunch of objects around. Here I'm sort of playing around with all the damage decals that came with all the different packs. It really doesn't look good, so I ended up not using a lot of them. I think I might have only used 1 or 2 or something. They really just made it look kind of spammy and also just kind of really run down, and I didn't really like how that looked. With the industrial room, it barely was okay, but with this one it wasn't okay, so I decided not to use it. I do really like the damage decals. Like, I've used them in the past to make sort of more rundown builds since I used to make more kind of creepy or rundown builds. But now I make really pretty aesthetic stuff, so they're not as useful, but let me know if you do want to see some more of my creepy rundown builds, or if you want to see me make more, I will gladly do so. Anyways, I'm sort of just adding a bunch of little curtains around to make it look a lot more lively, I guess. I like the idea of having curtains there because it feels like it might be like a hot day outside and then you're just hanging out in this little villa room and then you pull the curtains down to sort of make it cool while it's hot outside. That sounds oddly specific, but that's just kind of the vibe it was giving to me. And then there are all the cacti, and then I added a guitar because why not, and yeah, that's pretty much it. Alright, so this is the next room, and this is a boho room. I've actually not really done anything in a boho style, so this was kind of new for me and I was kind of experimenting. I'm not 100% sure if what I actually made is boho or not, but I'm pretty sure it is. It kind of reminds me of like the last video where I did a coquette build, and I wasn't exactly sure if that was coquette, but I think it was coquette, and I'm pretty sure this is boho. But let me know if I'm very wrong. At first, I was thinking of doing like a more bohemian kind of boho, like the one that came with the movie night pack. But it just looked bad. Like it just looked really messy, and I didn't really like how it looked. So I decided to do more of like a simplistic, modern kind of boho. Not sure if that makes sense, and maybe I don't even know what I'm talking about. I don't know, but you'll see what I mean when I finish the build, I guess. Or not a build. I guess this entire thing is a build, but the room. Is each individual room a build, or is it a room? Or is it a room in a build? Which it is a room in a build, but can I consider each room a build? Because they're all supposed to be separate. I don't know. You decide. Anyway, so this is what I'm talking about with the boho room. I was making it more light and a little bit more simplistic. You know what it reminds me of? It reminds me sort of like a coastal kind of vibe. Like I'd imagine seeing a room like this in a beach house or something. It's just giving a very beachy vibe, especially with all the turquoise accents that I see on the couch and then on the pots over there. I'm probably going to make a beachy, sort of coastal kind of house rather soon, so be sure to be on the lookout for that. I'm sort of just adding some more decorations and decor and whatever. Decorations and decor are the same thing, so I kind of just said more decorations and more decorations, but that's kind of just all I'm doing. I mentioned before that I use the style filter to find all the different objects. So I use the style filter to find different decorations and stuff for the boho room. So I just click the boho filter and there we go. Alright, so this is the final room and it is a modern room. So if you saw my last video, or not my last video, but if you saw my last aesthetic room video, you will know that I've already made a modern room. I wanted to do it again because there's all sorts of different types of modern aesthetics, I guess. There's not one way to do any aesthetic, especially modern, so I kind of wanted to take another shot at it and see what else I could make with the same aesthetic. I guess it's not really an aesthetic because I'm sure there's all sorts of different aesthetics within the modern category, but I can't be bothered to know what they are. Anyways, for this one, I was kind of imagining a sort of office or some sort of high rise or something. Like, I'm imagining this is someone's office and they have like a little lounge area right next to their desk or something. It could be a private office in someone's home or an office in a workplace, but whatever it is, it's based around an office sort of vibe. Like, I'm imagining this is a room in some sort of skyscraper in San Myshuno or something. That's where else these glass walls come in handy, not just for the room aesthetic kind of format that I've made for myself, but also within the rooms I can make more modern like kind of walls and I think they look kind of cool. I mean, of course you can achieve a similar effect with the normal windows, but I think this looks really cool and really like sleek and a lot more refined than the Windows version. I might also just be making stuff up. I don't know what I'm talking about, but I think it looks cool and I hope you do too. Speaking of the new update, this video will be released on the same day as the Enchanted by Nature pack is released, so that'll be interesting, but you'll definitely be seeing me doing some videos on Enchanted by Nature and maybe doing some builds. So if you're interested in that, be sure to stick around. I've been posting videos rather regularly. At first I was doing every other day, now I'm sort of doing a more relaxed every 2 days kind of style, but with the Enchanted by Nature videos I might get them out sooner, so I might switch back temporarily to the every other day kind of style. So you'll probably see them come out soon. That's if you care, of course, and if you do, thank you so much for caring. If you have any ideas of what I should do with Enchanted by Nature, be sure to comment down below, of course. I'll be glad to hear them. I feel like this entire video has just been me either talking about the build or saying, if you want to see me do this, comment down below and be sure to subscribe and like or whatever. I hope that isn't annoying. Anyways, so with the modern build, I decided to add some degrees there because I thought the person that owns this office would be very pretentious and would probably have a lot of degrees that they would want to show off. So that's why I put them down. Anyways, we're nearing the end of the speed build, so be sure to like and subscribe and comment down below any of your thoughts, preferably thoughts related to the video or my channel. This build and all my other builds are on the gallery, as always, and gallery ID in the description of the video. Alright, take care and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!